everybody. This is Josh Baird and with the Classic IndyCar Series podcast, and today I'm going to be your host. No co-host with me today, so we will be on our own for that. But we're going to go ahead and in this first segment, we're going to talk about the recap of Phillip Island. Second segment, we'll cover the Long Beach recap, and then for the final segment, we're going to go ahead and look ahead to see what is going to come up here in Kansas and some of the future races going on here. So here in this first segment, we're going to recap Phillip Island, and I would like to say that we're off to a great start here in 2021. I kind of preluded to this in previous podcasts that I was hoping that we could get a better season, try and beat our season last season out, and I would say we are off to a great start. The Phillip Island circuit definitely led to a lot of dramatic events, including 5 leader changes, and some drama that came with that. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that. First off, I'd like to say that the Chimera track tours are amazing. Keep it up, Chimera. You guys are doing a great job. Jamie Wilson with the production, and then the narrative portion done by Randy. So awesome job on that. I'm going to have to fill in for the Kansas race. So I am trying my best to be able to come close to them, but I don't think I'll ever succeed in that. So congratulations to you guys for doing those track tours. I hope you can keep them up. And then right off the bat for Phillip Island, noticing that Josh Chin didn't even start where he usually does up front. So I'm sure it raised a lot of questions to the broadcasters and the drivers. What happened to Josh Chin starting off in 13th for his qualifying, and then ending up not joining the race. Ended up being 10 laps down for that race. We were kind of curious, and in the end, we found out that Josh Chin ended up having network connectivity issues as his computer ended up getting switched off. So it was not a good start for Josh Chin, but looking at some of the people that started off, Lucas Laville, Jamie Wilson, Ethan Egan had great starts. Robert Grosser and Willie Schwabauer in the top 5 for the pole, or for the qualification. So it was awesome to see those guys get a good start. The track was relatively warm and windy, so that kind of created a little bit of issues, but I would say overall we actually had a pretty clean race. But looking at the opening laps, we kind of decided that it was relatively clean, but there was definitely some early mayhem. And one of the ones that actually caught my eye during that early one was the Willie Schwabauer and Robert Grosser incident. It was one that was tough to judge from a steward perspective, and it had me take quite a few looks at it to really decide, my personal opinion on it. So I was going to go ahead and cover that this morning. And if you go back and look at the replay of that, it was Robert Grosser, Willie Schwabauer, and third car. The third car came in very slow, so Grosser decided to go to his inside, and then Willie Schwabauer also decided to go inside of Grosser, taking it 3 wide, and then Grosser kind of cut in and spun himself out, running into Willie on that contact. And so one of the things that was going on in my head was, there was late braking, or there was braking, there was early braking, and then I would say Grosser probably braked on time, and then Willie braked kind of late. So the race analysis kind of came down to, was Willie dive bombing? Did Grosser cut his nose off? Or was it a thing where maybe Willie just tried to have a good racing move early up front and the contact made it a racing incident? I'm my official side on it. I'm probably not going to stay here on the podcast, but it was interesting to see that contact and analyze it to see where, going on in the future, what can we learn from that contact as to whether or not, if it was a racing incident or if it was too aggressive of driving. So that one caught my attention. I'm curious to hear what your guys' opinions on it are. Go ahead and comment or get a hold of us in Discord, create a discussion on that. And then other than that, the race got off to a clean start. Wilson, LaVille, and Dolenchek had an outstanding battle. It was so great to watch those guys take off and keep such a tight, close battle. And going into lap 15, that was still within 1 second for the top three leaders. So it was such fun to watch those three go at it. I'm very excited to see more road course action this season, as we've seen the competition be pretty stiff so far going through here. And then, of course, the epic lap 17 battle between Lucas and Wilson, just rolling side by side, fighting so hard for the position, doing such a great job at making it a good, clean race between the two. And then, unfortunately, after Lucas was trying to get onto the gas after the airpin, he loses control and collects Jamie Wilson and Dolenchek as well. So that unfortunate incident, it kind of ended that three-way battle for those guys, but it did not end the action. Going back and watching the race after that, Willie Schwabauer, Troy Dolenchek, and Ethan Agan stack up again. And watching those guys go through and continue the battle for the race win was pretty sweet to watch. So kudos to you guys for strong battling. It's unfortunate that Jamie Wilson got collected and ended up coming back actually to finish 11th for the race, but ended up a lap down due to the damage that was caused. And then Lucas LaVille climbing all the way back up to a podium position after that, and Troy Dolenchek ended up spinning and losing his spot as well. So that was a great battle to watch for the rest of the race. And then I noticed another one on lap 27, the battle for 11th between McBride Molnar, who's been doing so good this season. He started rear grid coming into this race and ended up climbing all the way up into sixth place after being a rear grid driver. So congrats to Matt for an amazing performance. Franz Josef Stum also was in that battle, and so was Stanley. That battle caught my eye because there was a lot of good clean action and great racing going on. I really appreciate seeing all the battles that went on that race, but that one caught my eye. So going into lap 52, we ended up seeing Willie, Troy, and Egan stack up again after that final pit stop. So watching those guys get back together after the final pit stop, it brought the drama right back into the race. And then on lap 66, Willie Schwabauer spins on the hill and collects Jamie Wilson in that wreck. It was very disappointing to see both those guys having such a great race, and then ended up having that incident to where it ended both their races. That I think Willie Schwabauer ended up hanging it up after that, ended up 18th place. And then Jamie Wilson, like I said earlier, finished in 11th after his two incidents in the race. So it's unfortunate Jamie Wilson happened to get caught up in two different spins, two different times. I'm sure if it was a day where he was able to stay clean out of keep out of other people's incidents, if you will, I'm sure he would have been first place, if not second. So it was a little disappointing to see Jamie Wilson getting caught up in that spin. And so at that point, Troy Dolenchek takes the lead, and then Troy spins, and then Egan takes the lead. So the drama throughout the Phillip Island race just was totally fun to watch. seeing that, even the best of us end up usually spending at least once going throughout these races just because these cars are so hard to control on road courses. And as I was listening to one of the podcasts the other day, and Nolan said it perfectly that you just don't know with the Classic IndyCar Series what it's going to bring at the end of the race. I mean, you could have, Lucas Leveille battling for the lead. He spins, collects Wilson, then Dolanchek then Willie takes the lead. He spins, and then Dolanchek takes the lead. He spins, and then Egan takes the lead. So it's crazy to watch the field flip just throughout these races because you never know what's going to happen. And with the sensitivity of these cars, one of those spins could be devastating, or you could get another chance to take on the race winner. And just hanging it out and staying clean throughout the race is huge for anybody that's trying to race in these, because you could end up with a very decent finish just by staying clean. So it has been amazing so far to watch some of these battles go on and watch the leaders change. And so going towards the end of that race, I noticed that Joshua Chin had the fastest lap of the race at a 112.6. And that makes me wonder what would have been had Josh Chin been able to qualify well and finish well. I know that he was very fast out on the track, may have even gotten a lap back from his incident. Unfortunately, it still kept him outside of the ability to get back on the lead lap because it took him too long to reconnect. But I would be very interested to see how much that would have changed had Josh Chin been up front. And overall, though, I think it was a great race. Um, with all the battles that came on, I really feel like that the broadcasters were able to keep talking, keep watching the battles, and with such a challenging course where the car had so many elevation changes and spins were very easy to come by, it showed that this group this year is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and the competition I think has become that much better. So I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully we have more great races like Phillip Island. So one quote that I'm going to pull from SimRace 24/7 was, it was considered the battle of the guards. You have Jamie Wilson, who's been around for a little while. You have Lucas Leveille, and then you got new guys, Troy Dolanchek, Ethan Egan, Willie Schwabauer, that all of those guys were fighting between the old guard and the new guard. And that just kind of gives me optimism for this 2021 season, seeing that, those guys that were probably, I would say, more dominant last year are now going to have to earn their right to be returning champions, as Lucas Leveille or Josh Chin is looking promising to earn his championship this year as well. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's going to be tough to call it this year. I'm definitely not calling it this early on who the champion's going to be, but after watching the first couple races, I'm very excited to see where we're going to go with that. So with this podcast, we're going to go ahead and announce the virtual race car engineer moment of the race. And the virtual race car engineer moment of the race is just a moment I think that stuck out to us as administrators and me personally doing race analysis after watching these races. And I would say the moment of the race that really turned it on its head was when Lucas Leveille and Jamie Wilson got caught up with Dolanchek. It really flipped the script on what the race was going to end up being. So to see that, and to see Lucas Leveille climb back up onto the podium after having that contact, it was a great opportunity to watch such an impressive race. watching the competition, watching Ethan Agen come out on top, Troy Dolanchek, and then Willie Schwabauer with the late incident, unfortunately, that ended his race. It really showed that the competition is going to be there this year. So I'm very excited to see where that goes. And then the other award we're going to be giving today too is called the Impressive Driving Performance Award. And this we're going to give to somebody that I would consider uh, maybe an underdog or somebody that actually showed way more performance than we had expected. So, we're going to go ahead and give that award today to Ethan Agen because of the fact that he had such a great drive. I mean, he started third, so right out the gate had a great start. Did so good at racing throughout that race. Led the most laps. Had nearly the least amount of incidents, and had a good, clean battle. Did such a great job. So congratulations, Ethan Agen, for the Impressive Driving Performance Award. You did a very good job to show us as the Classic IndyCar Series administrators and everybody else, I believe, on the track that you deserve that award. You did very well to earn that spot and the win for that race. So congratulations to Ethan on that. So that would be all I had for the recap of Phillip Island. If you want to check it out more, you can actually go watch the race on YouTube. It was a great race. Probably one of my favorites as road course battles go, just because watching the lead change 5 times or lead change 8 times throughout the race, you don't really see that on a road course. Usually somebody gets out on front and then takes off with it from there. So to watch all that take place, it made for an amazing performance, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes in the future for the Classic IndyCar Series. But with that being said, we're coming up on our first break, so I'm going to go ahead and take this moment to give our sponsors some time to get some airtime, and then we will be back with a recap of Long Beach. ESports TV is made for gamers by gamers. Over the course of the last several years, video games have become a vital spectator sport, with single events pulling in millions of viewers. This channel was launched designed to meet a demand for the round-the-clock coverage of esports athletes and gaming franchises from an insider perspective. ESTV is the first ever dedicated channel for esports and gaming personalities. Check out estv.co for more details. Welcome back to part 2 of the Classic IndyCar Series broadcast. This is Josh Baird. I am your host for today, and we are going to go ahead and cover the recaps of the last 2 races that we had, Phillip Island, and now here in the second segment we're going to cover Long Beach. And I'd have to say that Long Beach ended up being a performance that we kind of expected. A number of drivers that finished the race was a good amount of drivers. It was a very tough track for a lot of people. I know myself included. Got sucked into the wall and ended up damaging the car and having to pit the rest of the race, unfortunately. So it was great to see all the people that ended up finishing the race. It was very enjoyable, to say the least. The other thing that kind of came on expectation was a good Josh Chin run. We all know that Joshua Chin has the ability to dominate at road courses, and he proved once again that he is the king of road courses, with the next closest driver being Ethan Agen with 29 seconds back, and Lucas Laville, and then lapped up into the top 5. So very impressive run by Joshua Chin. I don't think that anybody expected anything else. If we knew if he was going to make it, not run into network issues like he had at Phillip Island. then he was going to be dominant. So good job to Chin. Congratulate him on that. And man, it makes me wonder if he had been able to make the start at Phillip Island, where he'd be sitting right now. I bet he would be up there in the top three for sure. So another thing that kind of was very good for us was the number of drivers that showed up. Um, I know for myself, I was on the bubble after picking the wrong qualification setup and not realizing until afterwards that I had a rough quality setup. But we did end up having a couple drivers get bumped, and hopefully we can figure that out for next race. So we have all the participants, but we'll have significantly more pit stalls in Kansas to share. So um, coming back to that, we'll probably have enough people for this next race to be able to race one race, but we will see. But it's definitely been great to have everybody show up and create such a great competition every week. So um, many thanks from the administrators to all of you that showed up. So lap one was coming in. We were expecting a lot of mayhem, just mostly because of the tight corners and tight hairpins that came up with with the track. It's kind of natural for that track to have issues. Lap one, just having everybody so packed close together, and we almost made it. It was pretty crazy. Everything went smooth through the fountain, and everybody kind of took off and gave each other room and stuff. And then the hairpin on the last corner of lap one, we had the unfortunate incident with Robert Grosser getting spun and turned into the hairpin and got stuck on the racing line. So it stacked up the entire field behind him, and it has. They pointed out in the broadcast it was pretty funny that nobody touched Robert, but ended up creating contact with other drivers to avoid him. So um, we did make everybody through. No local, or just a local yellow, not a full course caution. So I'm very surprised that as many people made it through that came in. And for the most part, it was a pretty clean race. There was a few blunders in there. I know for myself, I had a pretty impressive 360 spin that took off my front wing when I was braking. Garice, I'm going to give him some points for getting stuck at the pit attenuator. I know that he's probably second guessing that decision. And then Shoemake losing his rear wing after backing into a wall. I'm sure that Shoemake will probably not live that down for a little bit. So, yeah, quite a few kind of goofy incidents, if you will, there. So, just a couple of things that I picked up throughout the race is, first one was the Dolan-Check Wood battle. With an hour and 14 minutes left in the race, I saw the just a lot of good professional driving and good sportsmanship going on. There was a battle going into turn one that was between the two, and Wood got a little deep on the brakes, but just fit that car in just perfectly. It looked like such an expert move, and I was very impressed with that. And then following that in the fountain, Wood ended up catching his tank on the fountain and spinning out. So it didn't end quite as awesome as it started, but that was a sweet battle to take part in. And then another one that caught my eye a little later on in the race was a battle for ninth that had Winton, Grosser, Simmons, and Pickenen. Winton and Grosser had a great battle to start off with, and then I believe something happened to Winton. Or no, I'm sorry, the pit cycle started, and then Grosser and Simmons pit together, and somehow Simmons came out on top. I think it was because Grosser needed a new wing after the first incident, and then it allowed Pickenen to catch up to the group as well. And holy cow, that was such a great opportunity to watch a good battle for ninth place, and it was fun to see all those guys getting together and racing that tough to fight for that position. But going into race analysis mode a little later in the race, Sam Winton and Johnny Garrett uh, ended up going at it where Winton was coming out of the pits and Garrett was already on the track, and they ended up colliding, coming out into turn one. And so I think that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to take a look or deeper look into, maybe get some of your personal opinions about this. But um, after reviewing that incident, it took me many times to look it over. I was trying to see exactly what could have been different, maybe who could have made that go a little better. So what should have went came out so hot, and then or should Garrett have slowed down in that one? So I'm interested in hearing your guys' opinions on that. I would say that that was just a very close battle between the two guys, and I don't know how I would have handled that situation any differently because it was a spot for position. The only thing I guess in my mind that would have came uh, to mind was, you can take that battle to the next turn, right? So maybe if I was coming out of the pits, I would have slowed up, fell in behind Garrett, um, and then later on down the track, once my tires have warmed up, I could have had that chance to come back and fight Garrett for that position. Or if I was in Garrett's situation, um, slow down a little bit more to allow Winton ahead. Thinking about that now, I probably would have wanted to try to get ahead of Winton just because I knew he would have had cold tires. I would have had warm tires, and I would have been stuck behind him had I let him had the opportunity to warm that up. So obviously we can't go back and change the past now, but very interesting chance to analyze. The contact between the two. I would like to, get other people's opinions on that as well. And then a little later on in the race, Josh Chin had his spin. I'm sure the broadcasters, myself, my heart was skipping a beat, wondering if, his bad luck on road courses was going to continue from Phillip Island or if he was going to actually be able to pull this one off. And luckily, it was just a self spin, no collecting anything terribly bad. So he was able to pull it off, and with that spin, he was still able to lead the second place and third place by over or about 30 seconds. So very impressive performance by Josh Chin. We'll see. I'm sure coming on later in the schedule, we got Kansas coming up. I'm sure he's going to dominate Kansas. We got some more road courses coming up as well, so I have high expectations that he's going to be able to keep showing us his abilities through these next couple courses with Kansas and Twin Ring Motegi coming up. Watkins Glen, he was dominant at last year. Richmond, I don't remember who ended up doing well in that one. I'll have to look that up here in the future, but yeah, I'm sure that he's going to do well. But another thing that is going to be interesting about that is to see who shows up for the ovals. So we will see who's going to be challenging Josh Chin coming up here in the future. But a couple of virtual race car engineer moments of the race that I felt with Long Beach was the four-way battle for ninth place between Winton, Grosser, Simmons, and Pickenen. So I think that kind of encompasses the embodiment of IndyCar racing and where you're out there on the track, you're battling for position, but then pit stops come in, throw a wrench in the whole thing, and watching these guys sort out their racing their racing expertise, using their pit stops to their advantage and strategy, as well as the on track battles, made it for a heck of a opportunity to really display the essence of IndyCar racing. So congratulations to you guys. I think you deserve the moment of the race. And then I'm going to give Josh Chin the honorable mention for this one because his burnout after he won the race was very impressive. I mean, it was hard enough to get into the pits uh, just driving normally, and Josh Chin managed to squeeze in there while burning rubber on the track, and that was impressive to me. I was laughing the whole time, but at the same time was awestruck because I have trouble keeping the car straight while spinning out on the track. So it's impressive to watch somebody be able to lay rubber down and get through that pit wall at the same time. But another thing I really want to talk about was actually the most impressive driving performance award. And this person, I'm feeling at this point is pretty unanimous in this decision, but we're going to give it to Matt Molnar just because seeing his skill from last year to this year just jump so much with starting rear of grid in Phillip Island, but then coming in and finishing in the top 10. And then it came into Long Beach and had a stellar start with a sixth place qualification, and then finishing in fourth and finishing on the lead lap at that is an achievement in itself. So congratulations to Matt. I think you definitely deserve the most impressive driving performance award for this race. It's been great to watch you out there, and I'm excited to see what you have to bring for um, Kansas as well. So we're really looking forward to that. And like I said, once again, thanks to everybody that showed up for that race. It was a great action-packed race. It was my favorite road course pick for this season. We had three lead changes and three different leaders for the race, which is a pretty typical run, I would say. And I would say that there was no real incidents other than maybe the grosser hairpin uh, issue that we had stack up at the beginning of the race that really stuck out. It seemed like it was pretty clean racing throughout. So congratulations to you guys for a clean and action-packed battle there. But we're going to go ahead and take a break for this segment, and we're going to take some time to cover on the flip side of this. We're going to look ahead and cover to see, how the teams are doing, how some of the individual drivers are going, and what we should be looking for at Kansas. So I'm really looking forward to that. But first, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back here for the third segment. SimRace 24/7 is an independent website providing nonstop content as well as interviews, race reports, features, investigations, analysis, and reviews. If it's about sim racing, then it's on SimRace 24/7. Ran by the team of Paul Velasco, editor Darren Buckner, and contributor Sam Tomlinson. Check them out on their website, https://simrace247.com. Welcome back to the final segment of the Classic IndyCar Series podcast. I'm your host, Josh Baird, and we were covering the last two races, both road courses, both action-packed. It was fun to see, especially with Phillip Island, all the lead changes, and then the dominating performance by Joshua Chin at Long Beach, and watching some of the newer drivers like Ethan Egan, Matt Molnar, Troy Dolanchek, all showing up at the top. I know Matt Molnar's been in for a while, but it's nice to see him here in the top 5 of the leaderboard this year. So, and taking a really good, really good position in the standings with a top 5 standings position as well. So it's been awesome to watch some newer names up at the top of the leaderboard. So I'm looking forward to this season with that. But obviously we're changing over to oval courses, so that's going to be a new interesting twist to see who can come up with the best oval experience, who some of the oval experience drivers are, and shake up this leaderboard a little bit. So I'm very excited looking ahead. And the other thing is taking a look at some of these teams this year. SRC, Sim Racing Council, is a new team this year, and very dominant. I've been super impressed with their performance so far, leading the team points standings. So a brand new team to lead the point standings has been amazing to see. Um, Egan has been super impressive with his road skill so far this season, with 2 starts and a win, and then a second place podium finish at Long Beach as well. So, congrats to Ethan Egan on leading the championship right now. And Johnny Garrett has been kind of the silent runner. I mean, I don't think I've really heard him talked about a ton in the broadcast here, but he's 6 in points. Latest race he would finished. Let's see here. He finished, I believe, a little lower because he did have an incident. Yeah, he ended up being 3 laps down for Long Beach, but heck of a finish, coming just outside of a podium spot at Phillip Island. So, very impressive performance by Johnny Garrett, and I know he's kind of more of a oval person, so he's going to be somebody to watch out for coming up in this next race. And then Chimera, doing well as always. I call them the Chip Ganassi of Classic IndyCar Series. They haven't had the best of luck with some of the things that have come on. Josh Chin having the network issue, Wood having an issue at Wood, and Wilson having the issue at Phillip Island, and Wilson having the issue at Long Beach as well. So hopefully Jamie Wilson's able to turn some of that luck around. I'm looking forward to seeing him finishing in some podiums this year. With both the oval and road course. He's very well rounded, I believe, in both aspects. So, um, yeah, so Josh Chin, despite having his network issues first round, he's now 4th in points coming into Kansas. So we're going to see should see a very good result for him coming up at Kansas. So probably bounce him into the top 3 for points there. And then Andrew Wood right now is clinging to a top 10 standing spot as well. So Chimera's starting out pretty well strong. If they can, get past some of this bad luck that they're running into, I think that they're going to have a strong season as well. Vortex is also doing well. The Penske of Classic IndyCar Series, Lucas is 21 points out of the lead right now for the championship. So, he should be right in there to have some good points coming up in these next few races. I know he's a decent oval guy, and he should be able to handle his own out there on the oval parts of the track as well. So looking forward to seeing him stick around the top. And then Dennis is showing up strong in the standings, a guy that hasn't really been talked about very much in the races, and I believe if he had a little bit better showing at Long Beach, he'd be even doing better right now. But he's sitting in a nice top 10 spot. So congrats to him and Marshall Stanley for clinging on to top 10 standing spots right now. I know it's early in the season, so that can change pretty quickly. But um, a lot of the Vortex guys you got one, two, three in the top 10, and fourth guy just sitting right outside with Robert Grosser with his unfortunate events. That's kind of held him back from having a better race. So Vortex strong indeed, and Robert, if he would have maybe not had some of his issues in the hairpins early on in both races, he would be sitting a little higher right now, but I always expect him to have a strong oval game. So coming into Kansas, I have high expectations that he will perform very well. And then next up in the team standings is Team SimRace 24/7, another new name, new team. So battle of the guards here between Team SimRace 24/7, Chimera, and Vortex and SRC. Troy is definitely doing well in his road performances right now. Being a rookie, I'm interested to see what he brings to the table from an oval perspective. Hopefully we can get some good competition there. But he's sitting third in the points right now with a good finish at Phillip Island and at Long Beach. So I am happy for him to be sitting up there as a rookie and doing as well as he's doing. So congrats to Team SimRace 24/7. Iconic is another team that is, I would say, is probably a more pronounced name in the Classic IndyCar series, but we are not doing as well right now with our starts. I know that I've run into some issues, one involving another driver and then one involving an error on my part, and then we had some other drivers as well. Maybe we finished decently, but not kind of not what we're expecting right off the bat. So we're sitting in fifth place right now, and looking forward to having the opportunity to recover on the backside of that with oval races, because that tends to be our forte. So a couple of rookies on our team, Willie Schwabauer and Paulie Partonen are rookies for the Iconic Motorsports team, and Paulie, unfortunately, has not even been able to race yet because of different issues that he's run into. But Willie had a very strong showing in Long Beach. I was impressed with his start from pits. He got himself into eighth place at the finish of that race. So good on him for being able to finish that. So looking forward to seeing what comes of these what comes of these teams, these ovals. See which of these teams will start sticking out, and then maybe getting some of these road course opportunities back, as we are still pretty early in the season. So yeah, it's been good so far for these teams and individual drivers. I know another individual driver that has been very strong this year is Matt Molnar. Watching him in his Archer Brothers Esports car has just been phenomenal. Starting from the rear grid at Phillip Island and finishing where he did, and then finishing well here at Long Beach, has allowed him to have the opportunity to place top five in the standings. So congrats to him. I know Hans Pickenen is a new addition to the one of the teams here in the Classic IndyCar series. So, or no, I'm sorry, Franz Josef Stum. I'm sorry, I messed that up. I apologize. Stumi is going to be a part of AeroX. So I'm looking forward to seeing where Stumi finishes for AeroX this season. I know he'll be a great contribution to that team as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that as well. But looking forward into Kansas, we're going to see we have new rookies out this year. So looking to see some of those rookies maybe, if they didn't show up for the road courses because maybe that's not their forte, or they're still trying to learn the ropes of road courses in the Classic IndyCar series, looking to see where that they can get the opportunity to prove themselves in the oval. So I'm excited to see that. And then I'm kind of expecting the track to be a little bit cooler. So we should have some bottom racing with a lot of two wide action throughout it. I know that in 2018 when we ran at that track, there was almost always two wide somewhere around the field. Somebody was battling for position. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that again. And I love the fast pace action that comes with Kansas. But another thing that we're going to have to watch out for is those restart spins. As I mentioned in the track tour, this track is became notorious for the restart spin issue that we had in 2018 when the top three leaders ended up spinning out with, just about 8 laps to go or so, and flipping the field and allowing multiple people that were down a little bit more in the leaderboard to come up and have a decent finish. I know that was one of my top finishes as well, due to the top three spinning out. So I think we'll be a little bit better prepared for this time, but I'm I'm sure that somebody might fall victim to the 9,000 RPM kill switch. So looking, I'm hoping to see some good action out of that. I'm expecting that a lot of people are going to be surprised by a couple people that are going to show up for this race prepared, and expecting to have a good race overall. I think Kansas is a great way to start off the season, as it's a pretty simple track from a setup perspective, but it is also fast paced. So this is going to teach us really quickly as drivers on how to work together on a track and how to properly pass each other. And some people might not be able to figure that out, but I think most of us will be. We've been driving really good so far this season, keeping it clean. So it'll be a nice segue into Twin Ring Motegi Oval. So I am looking forward to that. But that's all we have time for today, guys, with the Classic IndyCar Series podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and take some time to thank our sponsors for all that they do for us for this season. I know we have ESTV, we have SimRace 24/7, we have EDIFICE, and we have some other IndyCar ministries as well that have been helping us out this season. So I want to take time to thank all them. And if I forgot a sponsor, I'll try and catch them next time. But thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next Classic IndyCar Series podcast.